the inside look on the sport of lacrosse. Can you believe that the sport of lacrosse was created long before America was actually founded? Today I'll be informing you about the sport of lacrosse, a sport that is not very well known, but is very exciting and fun to play. I grew up playing lacrosse from the first grade up until the 12th grade, so I know a lot about the sport, so hopefully I can share some knowledge about the history of the sport, the rules of the game and how it's played, and the growing popularity in today's world. So first off, the history of lacrosse. It dates back to 1100 AD, where it was created by the Iroquois Native Americans. It was a huge part of their culture. They played it on fields that were miles long, and sometimes it lasted for days, each match. And as you can see, their equipment, they didn't wear any pads. It was a very physical and brutal sport. And their sticks were made out of wood and kind of like net baskets on top, and their lacrosse balls were made out of small deer hide wrapped up. They played the sport sometimes to prepare for battle and war, as well as with other tribes to trade and sometimes even to settle disputes. It didn't really pick up a lot of popularity until the 1970s, where a lot of Ivy League schools started playing the sport. This is a picture of Yale in the 1970s. It's their team. As you can see, the equipment's starting to get a little bit better, but still not very up to date as it is right now. So now that you know a little bit about the history of the sport, I'm going to teach you guys about the rules of lacrosse. So this is the positioning in the starting lineup. There are 20 players at the field at all times, 1 goalie, 3 defensemen, 3 midfielders, and 3 attackmen. Defensemen have to stay on the defensive side of the field. They cannot cross the midfield line. Attackmen have to stay on the offensive side of the field, and then midfielders can roam wherever they want. If a defenseman does cross the midfield line and there's not 3 people on the defensive side, it will be an offsides penalty, which will result in the opposing team getting possession of the ball. Some other penalties include slashing and cross-checking, which will be a penalty, a 1-minute penalty where the player has to sit in the box and the other team has a man advantage. Scoring is mostly teamwork and creativity. I couldn't find a clip short enough to show, but if you, on your free time, want to look up like most creative goals, it's very fascinating to watch. So there are a lot of rules that make the sport so interesting. That's why it's gaining a lot of popularity in today's world. It was just announced that lacrosse is going to be in the 2028 LA Summer Olympics. Fun fact, my brother is on the Greek national lacrosse team, so if they qualify for the Olympics, he will be playing in it, so it's very exciting. There will be 20 teams that qualify for the Olympics in 2028. There are about 75 countries that play, and in today's society right now, there are 393 colleges that play the sport, and they will all compete at the end of the year in a tournament style, kind of like March Madness, where they hope to come out on top. And then the PLL and MLL are the 2 professional leagues in America. So to conclude, there are a lot of interesting things that make lacrosse such an interesting and fascinating sport. So I'm glad I could teach you guys about the history of the sport, the rules, and the growing popularity in today's society. So, thank you guys.